Hello, yes, it's Freeman here. I wanted to talk to you about um, gang stalking. One of the key elements of gang stalking is gaslighting. If you've been a targeted individual, you would know what gaslighting is. But if you don't, I'm pretty sure most people have researched it. But I just want to give you a brief definition of what gaslighting is and who it affects. It's not just one particular person. Originally, gaslighting was it the term gaslight. It came from a movie from, I believe, 1944, 1938. It was a play that they created in 1938, I believe, and then the movie came out in 1944, if I'm not mistaken. The purpose of gaslighting was a husband was trying to find some treasure in his basement or something like that. And I guess he didn't want his wife to know what he was doing, so he would flicker the gas lights, and she would ask, why are those lights flickering like that? And he would say, what lights? I don't see any lights flickering. Basically, the plot of the movie was to the husband was trying to convince his wife and other people that she was insane. And I know you would say he tried to convince his wife she was insane. That's wow. Um, but some of the elements of gaslighting are manipulating small elements in environment. So gaslighting is most common in relationships, but gaslighting can just be used against any targeted individual. You don't have to be in a relationship. They can use because gaslighting is based on uh, delusions. Basically, gaslighting is something that they use to make you look delusional or paranoid. Um, I've had gaslighting done against me where they came into my bedroom. I'm in a friend's home right now. I don't even I stay at my house, but I'm rarely there. I'd rather be at my friend's house. I'm in their bedroom right now. They let me do this. The thing is, they've used gaslighting against me in small details. They take your ID. Someone stole my ID. CIA operatives, CIA assets. Spies, informants for the perpetrators, the head perpetrators. They use small elements to make you look crazy to individuals that you are interacting with, relationships, friends, family, spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, what have you, children. Your children would think you're crazy. What they did is they took my ID. Uh, I had my wallet on my bed, and what they did was when I left, because I went to a convenience store, and most of the times I don't take my ID, my wallet, unless I'm making a big purchase where I have to use my debit card. But take a few bucks to the store, and I came back, and I had some business to take care of the next day with my identification, and I couldn't find it. Now, what happened is I knew that they had come into my bedroom, my home, and stole my ID. But to family, spouse, friends, what have you, if you say the people, you can't. One thing for targeted individuals, don't say they. They is a infamous term used to indicate that you're crazy, right? You don't say they took this, they are doing this to me, because a lot of the times, believe it or not, people that are listening to what you're saying, they may be convinced that you're telling the truth if you give a specific uh, target or a specific person or a group of people. If you just say they took this, people most likely would think you're crazy, because they sounds like a mysterious, fictional group boogeyman or something. You have to actually give specific names or titles of individuals or group of individuals who are conspiring against you. So that's the one thing that a targeted individual has to make sure that they practice saying. Say the gang stalkers took my ID, and what that does is it opens up an avenue for them to ask the question, "What is a gang stalker?" And then you can educate them on gang stalking. If you just say they all the time, people will say, "Who is they? Who is they?" And if you're not accustomed to giving a specific title to the opposition, then you'll struggle trying to explain it to them. Excuse me. So they took my ID, and coincidentally, I say they, just because out of frustration, I said, man, they came and took my ID, and most likely what happens is family, girlfriend, friends, what have you, they would tell you, you just misplaced it. That happens. It's common that people misplace their ID. It's common that people lose their ID. You just gotta recheck, look again for your identification. And I'm telling people that, uh, I didn't misplace it. My identification is one thing that I've never misplaced. I've never lost my ID out of every ID I've had. Going back to my first identification when I turned 18, I've never lost my identification. So I'm telling them I've never lost my ID in my life. So, but in the reality, it still looks like, well, you just misplaced it. Let me help you find it. Let me, you know, and if you can't find it in the house where you're home, and they say, well, go to your friend's house. Let's go check over there, and you can't find it there, and then all of a sudden it's just basically, uh, well, you must have lost it out in public. When's the last time you pulled out your ID from your wallet and took care of some business? Well, here's the thing. Who loses their ID in those type of transactions? No one loses their ID in those type of transactions. The bottom line is they take little things from you to where it would make it look like you just misplaced those things or you forgot where you put those things, an iPod, MP3 player, cell phone. They can take those things and then girlfriend would say, well, you just misplaced it. You forgot it somewhere, right? Because in their reality of not necessarily understanding that particular possibility, they would say, well, who would come in here and take an ID? That doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you another thing that doesn't make sense.
Get into a little bit about the kind of systematic harassment. If he tried to come out and tell anybody about it, the ones doing it had done it in such a way that it would just make him look crazy if he tried to say these things. Everybody knows you can't get into someone's safety deposit box. You can't do a lot of the things, or they're just so weird.
So you're hiding out, and I went and I bought a motion detector. So if anyone came in, the motion detector would go off. Well, the motion detector's turned off. It's one of their systematic mind games they play. They'll break in wherever you are. They will alter your clothes. If I told someone, which I was really careful of, because they already think you're crazy. So you're sort of like, it's like being in a prison. You're handcuffed. You're not if you tell someone, hey man, they're coming in my place and they're altering my clothes to mess with my head.
No, they're going to think you're crazy.
My friends at the time thought of me. What do you think people would think?
That they use to make you look crazy is stealing clothing, harassing you with rearranging your clothing, things of that nature. I've had boxer briefs stolen from me, and you would say, "Wow, why would they steal boxer briefs from you?" Well, here's the thing: they're not stealing the boxer briefs because they need them. They're not stealing the boxer briefs because they're obsessed. They got a fetish with boxers or undergarments or any silliness like that. They're stealing it to create a mountain out of a mole situation where you are basically saying someone came into your home to steal some undergarments to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, family members, relatives, whatever, friends, roommates. You would sound crazy because you're saying they came in here and stole an undergarment, some boxers. Why would they do that? Now you have to try to explain why they would do it. And people around me, my friends, and I've actually had a relationship get destroyed based on the female thinking I was crazy because I was explaining that there was a conspiracy against me, and I just wanted to let her know up front that I was on a watch list, I was on a blacklist, and this and that, and she basically said we can't be together because that sounds like a bad life to live, and I just can't deal with that stress. That sounds stressful. I've seen movies and stuff like that, so I'm sorry I can't. So it destroys everything about you when you're a targeted individual. Unemployment. The only thing that a targeted individual could actually do, they have a pretty good avenue to take, is education. They'll harass it with electronic harassment. They glitch up your computers and this and that. But that's the most stable thing that you can actually accomplish. So, targeted individuals, most targeted individuals are in their 30s. Uh, so, uh, I would advise you to, if you have gone to college and the electronic harassment and all of these things took place to where you had to withdraw and you lost motivation to go to school, I would say go back. Don't just give up. The gaslighting is used to manipulate small elements in an environment. I just gave you examples. Taking someone's identification, uh, stealing a magazine that's on their dresser, uh, taking, the iPod, taking little things where it's most common that you would misplace those things as opposed to someone stealing them in your house. I mean, because in the person's mind that is obtaining this information, they're thinking from terms of a thief, an authentic thief that would come into someone's house and steal, valuables like PS4, or television, or you know, DVD player, and all of these types of electronics and gadgets. But to say that someone came into your apartment to steal your ID, they're still thinking from a thief's perspective. They're not seeing it from, it's not a normal thief. It's not that type of thief. It's someone stealing it to create a scenario within the household that you have to deal with as looking crazy to friends, family, roommates, or girlfriend or boyfriend. And gaslighting is one of the things they do in relationships. But the gaslighting, and I'll touch on this. Ray Rice was just reinstated back into the NFL. This is one of the reasons I don't like football. I played football when I was a kid, but uh, I'm a basketball guy. Football is things like this are the reason I don't like football. He's reinstated into the NFL after assaulting his wife. And I would tend to think that he used gaslighting techniques on her to manipulate her into believing that she was the cause of her being knocked unconscious, and he's the victim, right? So my thing is this: uh, gaslighting is used basically to manipulate. It's two types: gaslighting in relationships and gaslighting against single people, individuals, to create nonsense in their life to destroy their lives. So I'll be back to wrap up the gang stalking series and perhaps talk about the gang stalking from rumors and reputation. Peace.